Do you fear dying yourself? I mean, does this cause you much anxiety? Jeff?
I fear death, sure. I'm not sure it causes me a lot of anxiety, but I think it would, if I got the wrong diagnosis or the wrong news. Yeah, I'm not immune to this in any sense. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lani?
Well, I died and I didn't want to come back. And I didn't tell my story for about 5 years because at the time I had a 2-year-old child. And and I didn't tell the story because I thought to tell that story to other mothers would be to be banished. But I still remember it so profoundly. And I want to go back. I won't do anything to make that happen because I also know what a gift this is. But I think everyone has a perfect death, and I want to use my dying in the same way that I use my life. I want to be teaching. So I've asked this question again in my family and at dinner conversations. And if you could go, how would you go? And my husband wants to be hit by a bus. That would not be my. I want a good 3 to 6 months with an illness, so that I can talk about it and teach people how to be with it. But I don't fear it.
Allan?
Yes, I think so. I mean, when I was in Australia, I got my first job in a very small country college. And it was not in the outback, but it was very, very remote. And we lived half an hour outside the college, surrounded by wheat fields. And the summers, they used to be around 48, 46 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, I'm sorry. And it was very hot. And I used to entertain myself by going to art classes in the evening. So one day I set off on this road. It was dead straight, dead flat. And as I was driving along, I saw a dust storm coming to my left. Huge thing. Red, thick, swirling, moving across a wheat field, coming at me on my left. And everything that it passed disappeared under it. Now that's not that unusual, except that on my right was a thunderstorm. And the thunderstorm was a very bad electrical storm, and it was coming from my right. And it looked like they were both going to meet on the road. And I was driving into it. And it was too late to turn around. This is a true story. It was too late to turn around. I just stopped the car, and the car was enveloped by this red dust. And the car started shaking. I had a small car in those days. It was not long after being a student. Couldn't afford much, and it was being buffeted around. And I really thought, I wonder if the car will turn over. And I was raised in Sydney as a city boy, so I'd never come across anything like this. And all I could think was, shit. And I hung onto the wheel. And then after about 90 seconds, I think, the road appeared before me again. And all I can say is, I think I'll wake up one day maybe, and I'll only have a few seconds or a few minutes or maybe a month, and I'll be frightened. And I'm not a believer in anything, but I hope the old road will appear before me again.
One final question for each of you, and I think I can guess how some of you will respond to this, but what do you think is going to happen to you after you die? I mean, will there be some element of your consciousness, your soul, to use the religious word, or do you think this all ends once your brain stops functioning? Jeff, let me start with you.
I actually do believe in a soul, which isn't the same thing as an ego. Mm-mm. I'm not at all convinced that the I, this thing up on stage, will survive. I sort of doubt it. But I really do. I mean, I say that not out of belief. I say that out of reading too many stories and talking to too many people, and encountering these things in other human beings, And I think Lani's right. They sort of form a gestalt at some point that's extremely convincing, even though the pieces and the details may be functions of the culture or the context.
Lani,
I'm ready to shed my ego. I think that'd be a great journey, part of the journey, and I do believe that my soul goes on, and I do believe and have experienced seeing deceased loved ones, and I believe in the connection, and yes, I think it'll go on.
and Allan, I'm guessing you do not believe it's going to go on.
He left that open with the road, didn't he?
I was raised in a single-parent family by a Japanese mother. Her religion was Shinto. And the only job she could get where she didn't have to speak much English was as a housekeeper in a Catholic monastery with 10 priests. So I stayed there from the age of 7 till I got my first degree. Now, can you imagine negotiating Shinto beliefs with Catholic Christian beliefs? What this has given me is a lifetime where I've forfeited believing anything.
That was my point.
So I think what I'm left with is hope. And you're right. I think my answer about hoping to see the old road again is probably where I'm at. But I wouldn't like to lose my ego. I quite like it.